So welcome to SRC Spotlight, James.
Thank you, Michael.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of some of the SRC agenda and what we have in store for Term 2, can you just tell some of the students a little bit about your background, your professional background, what sort of led you to undertake this mammoth role of SRC Presidency?
Okay. Well, I have a bit of a varied background. My professional background is in the natural sciences, so got an ecological background from way back in Zimbabwe. So I've completed University of Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Then I worked for a year for WWF in Zimbabwe in the Southern African Regional Program. Then I worked there for about a year. Then I decided it's time for me to extend my skill set in conservation biology. So I applied for a master's in applied science and natural resource management in Australia. So I did my master's at University of Canberra.
Right.
Yeah. Then after that, I worked in freshwater ecology, doing research on river health. So assessing river impairment and methods of rehabilitating impaired rivers for this.
Interesting. It's definitely a challenge up ahead, but let's talk about the challenge, in the immediate future, the SRC presidency. So what sort of led you to take that role on?
Well, I think when I decided to do my MBA, I wanted it to be more than just about the classroom.
Yep.
Of course, the classroom is the primary reason why I'm here and why I chose MBS. But I think if you have a tunnel vision and just focus on the studies, you miss out on a lot of learning and personal development which you can get from meeting with your fellow students, networking with your fellow students, and at the end of the day, just contributing to the MBS community. I find that's a very good way of one, learning, two, giving back to the school,
Yep.
and three, I just enjoy it.
That's good. That's good. So you've been involved in the SRC previously. This is your second term at it. What's different? What are the objectives for this term that's different in your mind for the SRC?
Oh, this is actually my third term. So I've
Third
done
term.
2 terms before this, and this is my third term.
You really enjoy it.
Yes. Is to make the SRC more visible to the student body, visible and accessible, so that we can get as much input and ideas from the student body, which you can then channel through the relevant, the relevant people to, at the end of the day, represent the students in what they find the issues of concern or the areas which they think are more important for us to focus on. So we want the student to know and realize that we are here to represent them.
Okay.
Yes. To trust the SRC and to be able to access the SRC. The SRC officers have to be engaged in events happening around the school. And we must also find ways of getting students engaged beyond the classroom, so that they have a richer experience. So for the SRC really relies on the clubs in the largest extent. It relies on clubs to offer students things which are interesting to them, things which are relevant to them, and things which will grow and develop their professional skills, their soft skills, and at the end of the time really just relax and enjoy the MBS experience. So we're really looking to working very closely with student club leaders in that regard. The other initiative, which started last term, and this term will continue to fine-tune it to make sure that all students are covered in the MBS in the MBS classes. So last term we were operating on intake basis, but feedback from students say that intake basis might not be the best approach, because in some cases some people from like the earlier intakes who are now doing electives don't really
Okay.
fall under specific intake. And so we've decided to make it more fine-tuned and have it at a subject level. So one thing we're looking to do this term is to have a sort of like mid-term subject evaluation, but this will be conducted by class reps, taking input from the people in their classes. Then the class reps would present this information to the school in week 7, so that we can find out how classes are going, how particular subjects are going, before end of term. So the idea is to be able to remedy things, before it's too late, so students can actually see change during the term.
It's quite a different model and different change to how class reps used to work, and sounds like they're going to play a much more critical part in feeding back some of that sentiment of the students back to the lecturers in a timely manner, which is quite critical. If students are interested in getting into playing that sort of role, what's the best way for them to be involved as part of their class rep, for example?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what they should do is contact Andre Fisser. So Andre Fisser is a SRC officer for clubs and for student experience. And the class representatives fall under student experience. So at the moment, with the class reps we have, using the intake basis, we're covering about 60% of the classes. So we actually do need to recruit more students to cover all the classes.
Excellent. So look out for that recruitment drive coming soon. You also noted another point about events and using that as a way to get a lot more engagement with the student body, obviously with the part-time and full-time intake, weekend modes, etc. What are some of the events coming over the horizon that the students can look forward to?
Well, the next major SRC event is the Pizza Forum. That will be on the 19th, so that will be a Saturday. It will be in the Gadsden Dining Hall, starting at 4:30 to 6 p.m. So it's a pizza forum where students get together, they share whatever is going on around the school, their classes. It's just a forum for students to meet and, catching up. And from the SRC point of view, it will be a very useful vehicle for us to be able to go there and to tap in to the students, students' lives, so know what they think about the student survey, get some ideas about how we should work with the school to remedy some of the concerns discussed in the student survey. And also, I think a very important thing which you can get out of it is finding out what students think the SRC is doing well and the school is doing well, because it's very important, just that we don't focus just on the negative, because there are so many other good things which are happening in individual classes or in different areas of the school.
Other clubs and societies.
Clubs, and so if that comes to our attention, right, we can actually let the people who are doing this know that this is valued, this is appreciated, and that can also inform other maybe lecturers or other areas of the school to follow a similar approach. So it's all about idea generation, problem solving. We're trying to follow a very constructive, collaborative approach with the school and all the stakeholders, including the students.
Excellent, and not to mention a tasty slice of pizza to go with.
Oh yeah, yes.
So we talked about student life. I think a big part of student lives for the next couple of weeks is obviously the Soccer World Cup in Africa. Any tips? Any favourites that you think are going to make it through this year, or this event?
Well, I always go with the easy option, so I've always been Brazil. I know I've had myself burnt a few times, like with Ronaldo no shots, it in 98 or 99. That was the worst night. I remember my worst sporting night. I could not believe that happened. But I'll go again for Brazil this year. But the idea is to, in the earlier rounds, have a look around and see who's worth supporting, who's the underdog, and So I haven't decided yet in that respect, but it will probably be an African country, I think.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like an exciting couple of weeks ahead, and it sounds like an exciting term for the SRC and the student body. So wish you all the best in all of that, and hopefully we'll hear more from you and see how the feedback we get from the students over the next couple of events.
Oh, thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.